And a very, very good afternoon this afternoon. This is Pieter Geldner speaking, and we are live today from Aldo Scrabante Raceway for round 2 of the Super Polo Cup. On the other side, I have my co-pilot today for the Division 2 race, Tommy Lerimos. How are you?
Good evening, Uncle Geldenhuis. I am doing very well. Just a little bit cold here in Cape Town with the rainy weather, but overall not too bad.
Great, awesome. Yeah, so up here in Gauteng as well, we encountered a little bit of a chilly weekend. It seems like it's going away now with a little bit warm. But yeah, we're looking out for some great action today from Aldo Scrabante, and we'll see what the action will bring us. Yeah, as we know, Aldo Scrabante racetrack is sitting in Port Elizabeth area, and they say about 2.5 kilometers long and 8 corners. And yeah, as I can hear, the guys already busy with practicing for the Division 2 race. Yeah, so how did you encounter the practice during the week, Tommy, from your side?
Well, I have to admit, it is not an easy track to drive. It's a little bit bumpy, and the curbs do not love you at all. The moment you hit a curb, the car's either sideways or you will go over the curb, and it's a little bit difficult to rejoin the track. It is quite narrow, sharp turns. It's a fast track, and the guys is going to have to be very careful to not make contact, because like I said, it is a very narrow track, so it becomes a little bit difficult to actually overtake and race side by side through the corners, seeing that you can't really run the curbs. But overall, it's a nice track. Seems like we will be having nice weather out there. Track conditions is looking good. Track grip and temperatures all are well, as we can see on the screens and things on my side. So it should be interesting racing. It's all going to come down to who can survive the longest and stay on the track and be the most consistent out here.
Awesome, I see you've been out on track. Did you take the car out to see what the conditions are like?
Yeah, I took the car out a bit to have a look and see what the track conditions is like. Is there enough grip on the track? Is it going to be a little bit loose or slippery? But it seems like everything is fine. Times is looking good. Times for Division 2 is looking very fast, and again, it's quite up to speed. And it's going to be quite an interesting one to see. The times is very close, even from Division 1 all the way down to Division 2. You've got some drivers out there that is literally less than a second, or well, 0.1 of a second apart from each other. So it's going to be extremely close, and it's gonna make for some interesting racing out there tonight.
Awesome. Yes, I actually did as well. I took my car out a little bit earlier in the week, and I have to say those curbs, as you've mentioned, is a race killer. So yeah, good luck to all the guys out there today. Yeah, and pre-practice I see, other than yourself, you did a 1 minute 0.4 second. That's quite comfortably in the Division 1 range. I see Andre Basson there in 1 minute 0.8 about. So that's quite quick for the Division 2 guys. So yeah, quite anxious and exciting to get this underway.
And it's definitely going to be some interesting racing out there tonight with the times that I can see. And like I said, the track conditions is looking very nice, and the cars is behaving well on the track. It's not too loose, not too slippery. But again, it all comes down to the amount of fuel you have in the car, as well as your setup that you're driving. And then also there is some of the guys that is running with a weight ballast, as in this league you are being scored, or you are getting a weight penalty, if I can say it in that way, for the times that you, or for your placing in the league. So if you're in the top 10 in the entire league, you are getting a weight penalty, and I think the maximum weight penalty out there is 75 kilograms, and it goes all the way down to a 10 kilogram penalty from first to 10th. So some of the guys that raced in Division 1 is now racing in Division 2 due to the weight penalties, because it has a massive effect on the car's speed as well as handling, so their times do decrease with a lot.
Yes, and as you say that that weight is to get the faster guys, not to discourage them to go slower, but you know, to give everyone a great opportunity to race for the championships. And like you say, it's a good incentive. You know, if you're fast, you need to adopt with a weight penalty and make it work for you to stay on top.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just having a little bit of a look at the YouTube channel. We have Yandre Dippenaar that is out there supporting the Division 2 guys. I know he races in Division 1. We've got Melvin Gous on the YouTube channel. His son is currently on the track. I see the name is not right on the track. It says Melvin Gous is racing here. However, he's racing in Division 2. So in his car will be his son racing. That's Kian Gous. And then we've got our number one keyboard warrior, Mr. Cleopas. He's out there on the YouTube channel supporting as well as always. Then we've got the guys from South Africa Sim Race League, SSRL, also supporting their drivers that is out here in Division 2 as well as Division 1. We've got Rudy van der Westhuizen, who is actually supposed to be out on the track driving, that's also dropping a message there on the YouTube channel. And then Mr. James Crook, that's also there in the channel, that's also just supporting the SRAC Division 2 guys. He's racing in Division 1 as well.
Awesome support there for all the different guys. Yeah, great to see the Division 1 guys also supporting the guys out in Division 2. Sean Olivier, the 1 minute point 5 so far quickest in practice, with Werner Hubert very close behind him, and then Kian Gous in so far the third fastest. So yeah, the guys are up to speed. It seems like track conditions are favorable, and yeah, can't wait to get this starting.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can see there in the background we've got a little bit of cloudy weather coming in. So it looks like we might have a little bit of an overcast for this race. Not clear skies, but it should not, I see the weather is not predicting any rain out there. So we can assure for some decent dry conditions. However, it is going to be a little bit overcast, which can make things a little bit interesting out there as well, dropping the track temperature down and lessening the grip on the cars. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the weather as well as the track.
Great, as we are preparing for the qualifying round, I think we just need to get out of the server again and reconnect. So in that regard, we will be right back as soon as possible. And while we are changing servers, shout out to our sponsors. Yes, as we've seen there, our sponsors Sukamisa Upholsteries and Motor Trimmings. Thank you so much for be our partner in the series. And yes, we have started with qualifying. So we'll get right into the action, see what the guys are up to, and see who will be that get that top pole position. While the guys are on their out laps, I'm gonna jump on board with one guy to see if we can get a feeling of how the track looks like. Some onboard action. Yes,
And while we are
we're on board with Sean Olivier. Going into corner 1. Hard on the brakes for the aces. Going down onto the back straight. With a little hairpin to the right. And we've got a sweep to the left coming up. Going up to the last corner. Hard on the brakes, trying to get onto the apex. Down the main straight. That's more or less an overview of one of the quick laps on Alto Scrabante. Yes, Tommy, let's see what the guys are up to, and seems like the times are starting to get in.
And I can have a look on my side. The times is now starting to come in. So we've got Kian Goos at the moment that has taken the pole position for now. He's doing a 1 minute 006 out on the track. I can see he's going side by side there with Werner Hubert. As you can see, Werner just hitting the outside of the track and losing out on that one. Like I've mentioned earlier, this is a very tricky track, so going side by side with another driver, it's going to be a bit difficult to keep control over the cars and safely make it through the corners. So unfortunately here it's going to cost you to back out of a fight and try and take on the fight once you get through the corner, and hopefully be able to make a move up on the next corner or before you get to the next corner. It's going to be tricky. It's not a very forgiving track when it comes to overtaking and running side by side. So yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting. You can see them coming out of the start or onto the start finish now, as Kian is trying to run the slipstream there of Rudy. He's going to go up, have a look up on the inside, but again he's got two slower drivers coming out of the pits, which is going to make it very difficult for him to put in a flyer for this qualifying lap. Then in second place we've got Stanley at the moment doing a 1 minute 8. In third we've got Andre that's doing a 1 minute 9. Sean just a few tenths of a second slower than Andre with a 109.32. And then we've got Werner there in fifth position with a 1 minute 1.3. Then we've got Stefan in sixth with a 1 minute 1.32, also just a few tenths of a second slower. Then we've got Stefan in sixth position with a 1 minute 132. I think I've mentioned that already. Then we've got Charles in seventh position. That is racing for Sukamisa, or the SSRL team. Then we've got Joni Lee in ninth position with a 1 minute 1.7, and Rudy van der Westhuizen in ninth with a 1 minute 2.071. So the times is coming in. They're on their starting laps. Track conditions at the moment is looking good. We've got about 100% track grip, and I'm not too sure what the track temperature is like. I can't see it at the moment, but it is it is looking fast out there, and you can definitely see the guys' time still improving as they're putting in their laps with 8 minutes left of qualifying.
Awesome. Yes, and Werner Hubert now pops into the first.
I lost you there. I'm not too sure what's going on Peter. But yeah, like you said, Werner just went up into pole position with a 1 minute .466. Now guys, that is Division 1 time, so you can really see the time starting to come in now as the track conditions has changed from the practice service up until the qualifying service for the race. As the guys keeps driving, more rubber gets placed on the track, and the better grip you have of the cars, and the faster you'll start going around the track. Although these cars tend to wear out the tire grip quite quickly, so as the race progresses as well, you'll start seeing the guys playing around with their brake bias, moving a bit more to the front or to the back to get better braking conditions, because the tire wear wears down very quickly. So after about 6 or 7 laps, you start losing that grip on the front end of the car, and you start sliding a bit more into the corners, getting more and more wheel spin, and losing a lot of traction as well as time going around the track. So it becomes more interesting the more the race goes on. Still, we've got Werner in first position, Kian in second, Stanley in third, fourth is Andre, then we've got Sean in fifth, sixth is Peter, in seventh we've got Stefan, eighth we've got Rian, in ninth we've got Joni Lee, in 10th we've got Charles, then we've got Rudy in 11th and Gijsberg in 12th. I think that should wrap up the entire field for Division 2, which is actually an extremely good turnout for Division 2, as well as okay, we're going up to 13 drivers that has put in times now. So the field is still increasing. I'm not exactly sure how many drivers we've got out on the track for Division 2, but I am looking at almost having a full grid for them, which is very, very nice to see out there, as the Division 2 is also busy growing very fastly for this race event.
Awesome. Yes, I see Gijsberg, Nagel joined, and Richard Clark as well. So yeah, I hope the guys are getting up to speed quickly. I see about 5 minutes to go in qualifying. And I have to say, looking at Werner Hubert, I just looked at how he attacked the track, and I see he was very wary of the high curbs and stayed away from him. Yeah, solid lap in that regard.
Yeah, no, I can see a few new drivers that has joined us at the Polo Cup, which is Sean Olivier, I think Stanley Venter. I'm not sure if Werner Hubert was here last race or if it's also his first race out there. And then I do know Gijsberg Nagel, I think is also new here, as well as Andre Basson. So we've got a few new drivers that is entered this league and has started racing with us for the very first time. It's always nice to see more and more people joining our leagues and getting known with SRAC and all of the other leagues. I do know that Gijsberg Nagel and Sean Olivier is also racing with some experience in the MX5 Cup, which will be ran just a little bit later tonight. So as I like to do on our streams as well as the other ones, please go and support the other sim race communities. There are quite a few out there. 3 that is very well known is Sim Experience, SRAC, and then SRSA, Sim Race South Africa. So feel free to join in on their YouTube streams as well. SRAC is usually running on a Monday and Wednesday. Sim Experience is on a Sunday evening from about 7 o'clock, and then SRAC we are running from 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon up until about 6 o'clock. So please stay tuned with us and then go and join in on the other channels afterwards as well.
I'm just having a look at Joni Lee starting a fast lap. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a curb jump at the last corner, and that hampered the exit speed out of the last corner up down the main straight. But so far it's going well. and seems like she's getting well comfortable with the track, and she's got a good race today.
Yeah, no, definitely she did well in the previous race. She's very consistent as well as very patient. So she doesn't make unnecessary moves or tries and take any risks. She'll rather sit back, put a bit of pressure on, and just wait for the drivers in front of her to make a mistake so she can capitalize on that one. But don't throw her out yet. She's getting more and more comfortable behind the wheel, and we should be able to see some good attacking racing from her side as well, not just defending.
Awesome. Yes, and as you just mentioned, it might be a good tactic for today, you know, sit and wait and just see what the guys are doing up front, especially if you're in the midfield or so on, and wait for the mistakes and yeah, use the opportunities, because I think the opportunities will be coming through, and hope the guys look for them and capitalize on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this is a very fast car and it's a very fast track. So there is bound to be mistakes. And like I said, most of the guys practice for hot laps so they can get very fast lap times. But some of the guys makes the mistake that they don't go and try and drive the entire length of the race in time. So what happens is they get used to a car that has a lot of grip, and then they go back to the pits, they put up a fast lap, they refuel, and they go out again. So they don't get used to the tire wear and the way the car starts changing the longer the race goes on, and then it ends up with you losing out on your handling and things as the race progresses, and at the end of the race you just tend to lose positions.
Totally correct there. I'm just having a look at Kian. He's about 0.4 up on this delta and going through on the main straight, and he pops up into first place with a 1 minute 0.1 second. That is quite rapid, young man.
Sure, that is extremely fast. I mean, that is the times that the Division 1 guys is running the top of the class. So it is an extremely fast time to put out on the qualifying lap. But also again, Kian is only 16 years old. He is new to sim racing. He's a very good up and coming racing driver to keep an eye out on. But I won't throw this young man out very quickly. He is going to put a lot of pressure on the guys as the sim racing league starts progressing and as he starts growing in the sport itself.
Great to see the young guys coming through. That's why, you know, I rather now want to try and focus on streaming and not racing, because sometimes the reactions are a bit slow, you know.
Yeah, but it's always fun to have a race out there. I mean, you are one of the few drivers that I know that you can literally race side by side with on any given track, even on Aldo Scribanti, and you can make for good racing. So it's sad to see a person step out and sit back and not do some racing anymore. But like you said, it's always nice to, you know, just give some other people a bit of an opportunity, as well as the same with me. We decide in which class we want to race. I know that you are racing in the V8 Masters, which will be running next week Sunday, and then I will be handling the streaming and the commentating again, because that is a class and a car that I just cannot get a handle on. But as we have finished our qualifying session, we just need to quickly get the guys settled back into pits, see them change their tires, refuel their cars, get everything ready for the race, and we'll see you back shortly.
Great, yeah, as Tommy mentioned, we will see you just in a while as we change servers. As we said, Kian goes pole position there with a good rapid time of 1 minute 0.1. Looking forward to the race start. We will be right back. Great, and we are live again. Just before the start of the race. About a 3-minute time interval that we just need to run through, and before the start of the race. So we'll see how that will pan out. So very excited for that. As we saw, Kian goes with a 1 minute 001. Let me try that again. Okay, don't put me in politics, please. Yeah, 10.1 lap. I think Werner Joubert was a second, 10.4. So yes, quite quick, the guys up front.
Yeah, no, I'm just also having a little bit of a YouTube or a little bit of a look at the YouTube channel. I see Dave is with us again. He joined in on the stream last week. It's very nice to see him out there. Herman Nivert also on the YouTube channel. Thanks for the support, guys. Everyone that is on the YouTube channel, feel free to hit the like button, follow us. Always subscribe to the channel so you know when we're going live and what's happening, and hit that share button. Get more people to watch our stream and get more known to sim racing as well as SRAC and what we are about. Whether you are new to sim racing or a regular racer, feel free to join in on our YouTube channel, as well as go to Facebook, give us a follow there, and get onto the Discord channel, and you can know what's happening whenever. It's always nice to have new people come and race with us, whether you are overseas or locally or even from Namibia. It doesn't matter. Feel free to join in. It's always just a lot of fun to have new people. The guys from SRAC is very helpful out there. If you've got any issues with your PC or your wheel or with anything, you can always just ask and anyone will be available to help you at any given time.
Yeah, just a quick overview again of the track. 8 corners, 2.5 kilometers, and everyone is forming onto the grid, and we will be live for the start of the race.
I see my car is standing on the grid. However, as the time runs down, it will automatically be thrown back to the pits. So for the racing drivers on the track, there's going to be an open position there in grid slot number 2. I'm not supposed to be there, and I can't move the car yet. So anything that goes down will just start getting into position as the time runs out. We've got 1 minute and 15 seconds left before the start of this race. So I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait for the start of this one. It's going to be interesting. Like we know that the times is extremely close, and this first corner is going to be a real nail biter. Well, I'm not too sure if it's going to be the first corner or the S's, but within those 3 corners, it's going to be a tight one out there.
I'm just cycling through the guys on the grid. Gijsberg, Nagel, just looking at all the liveries. The guys did a magnificent job to painting all these cars and getting them ready. Yes, very well and nicely done, guys.
Yeah, I know the cars out there is looking extremely good, and I do hope that they look the same after the end of this race and that not too much of the paint and mirrors will be missing from the cars. I see we've got a new viewer, if it's a new viewer, but it's the first chat that I've seen with his name, Mega Weird Beard. Please do feel free to just drop us your name so that we know who you are. It's always nice to see the guys out there and be able to communicate with the guys.
Right, and we've got a start.
Yes, the race is off. So luckily I am back in the pits. I'm out of the way, no major issues. We are going into the first corner with Kian Goos as well as that looks like Van Ruber running side by side. Can they go through here in one field, one mission? Some of the guys running wide out off of the track. They just have to rejoin safely, but I'm pretty sure everyone will get through there in a good way. You just see some sparks flying as they go there through the S's coming out there.
A nice start up there. Sean Olivier in second place and Andre Basson in third at the moment. A little bit of a problem there at the back. Stefan Kluter. Yeah, and we're off racing. Kian's still up front.
And I see a few position changes going on around the field. We've still got Kian Ghost there that he's now finishing his first lap. He is coming in with a lap time of, oh no, it's not showing me the lap time. It just says that the first lap has finished. So that is the out lap. So they should start getting in times now. But we've got Kian Ghost in first, Sean in second, Andre in third, Vanner fourth, Stefan in fifth, Gijsberg 6, Rian 7, 8th is Peter Grobler. Then we've got Ricardo or Richard in 9, Charles in 10th, Rudy 11th, Matt in 12th, Stanley in 13th, and Joni there in 14th position. So Kian Ghost is now going, not too sure where he is on the track. He's going through the fast left-hander almost into the second or the last corner now, going down to the start finish. So there was a little bit of a hiccup going down the field, as well as there's position changes everywhere around the track. Kian Ghost finishing his first lap there for the race. That's on a 1:06. Very fast lap there for the first, or for his first out lap, or his first lap of the race, official lap. So we've got 12 minutes left of this race, and the guys is still sitting right on the edge of each other. As I'm looking down here at the third and fourth positions, they are bumper to bumper going through the S's there. Further down the pack, we still have a battle here for 6 with Gijsberg, Rian, and Peter. That's also sitting there bumper to bumper at the moment. I forgot to mention that we have Matt Williams out there on the track as well. And him and Stanley is running in 14th and 13th position, with Joni there in 12th, trying to catch up there to Rudy in 11th position.
Werner Hubert now pressurizing Andre Basonde for the battle for third place. And so he's getting to almost into the slipstream down the main straight. Yeah, no,
these cars has a very good slipstream. So if you can get onto that exit corner and you have that nice drive out there, you can just hook that toe onto the driver in front of you and start reeling him in, and hope you've got the pace to catch him before the next corner. As I see Van now clipping that sausage curb coming out there from the S's, you can see these cars really do not like the curbs, as they're bouncing all over as soon as you start hitting one or coming off of one. The track again is quite bumpy, so you can see the cars bouncing around a bit, but that is where the setup comes in, and you just need to work your way through the track and try and get the best driving line possible.
As you mentioned, Matt Williams bringing up the rear at this stage of the race, getting up to speed again. I think they probably might have had a problem at the back. And like I said, Stanley Fender also getting up back onto speed. Johnny Lee going down the main straight, getting into rhythm again. And then Charles Randall in 11th place. And Rudy currently bringing up the in 10th.
Yeah, sorry, I was just having a little bit of a look at my settings here on my side. You can see Rian van der Westhuizen and Stefan that is now sitting bumper to bumper as they are heading down the main straight into the S's, I think. No, that is the last corner. They're going into the start finish now. Sorry, I was a little bit off on the track positions there. But they are really trying to make their moves on each other, as Rian is fighting hard to get into that, sorry, Gijsberg is fighting hard to get up into that 5th position with Stefan there. We still have Charles Randall as well as Rudy, who is running in 10th and 11th. So Rudy was able to make a move there on Charles and get that 9th position or 10th position away from him. As you can see, Joni now closing the gap there onto the back of Charles Randall. So she's going to get into that fighting position for 11th position again. And I'm pretty sure we will just keep an eye on that as we go through the race. As I am having a look at the times, I can see Kian Gous in first position having a comfortable lead with a 2.3, 2.4 second gap between him and Sean. And Sean is comfortably there in second position with about a let me just have a look here as the times updates. He's got about a 2-second lead over Andre, who's got Vanner right on the back of him as they are now fighting for that third position. And there was a bit of contact there between Stefan and Gijsberg. Unfortunately, they both lose out on this one. But you can see Gijsberg, that was the one at fault, who is just waiting there for Stefan to rejoin the track and get back into that racing battle again. Very good sportsmanship there from Gijsberg, as he knows that he was the one that was wrong, and he waited, losing all of those positions, giving back that position to Stefan, but he will most probably start fighting his way back through the field yet again.
I'm just keeping my eye on the battle for third between Andre and Werner. Andre pulling out all the stops to stay in front of Werner.
And I'm having a look at the lap times, and it is very close. There's about a 0.2 of a second difference between the lap times. As you can see, Vanner now starting to close that gap onto Andre yet again, going through the S's. As Andre runs a little bit wide through the S's, hitting that sausage curb. Now going through the right-hander. This one is where you just ease off a bit and then go through flat foot, hard on the brakes, getting that second gear corner as Vanner is trying to have a look up on the inside. Andre running a little bit wide, but he's not getting the drive out, falling behind Andre again as they're now going through the corner. They are going through the second last corner as they get to the main straight. If Vanner can just sit on the back of his bumper, get a nice drive through this corner, he should be able to make his move going down the start finish. And he's getting a little bit of a slower drive going out there. I'm not too sure if he's got enough to run that slipstream for turn number 1. No, he does not. So it seems like Andre has a little bit of a better drive going through the last corner, but is a bit slower at the rest of the track. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can make his move as he runs off the track there, going into the S's, which will cost him some time.
There's a battle just behind them between Peter Grobler and Rian van der Westhuizen, also now heating up. They were side by side down the main straight, and Peter could just manage to get into third corner 1 to stay up front with probably about 0.3 of a second between them. Two battles heating up quite nicely.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, there was a little bit of an incident between Rian and Stefan, if I'm not mistaken, and you can see Rian, who dropped down all the way into, I think it was 11th position, who is now, no, that was Gijsberg and Stefan that had a bit of a little bit of a bump there. I thought it was Rian for some reason. Their cars look so similar. I think they're actually racing as a team.
Yes, Gijsberg and Charles Randall is also having a great dice there for 10th.
Yeah, and you can see, sorry, you go.
And Joni also now right next to Stefan.
And she was a bit early on the brakes there, not wanting to overshoot and cause any problems there, but she's getting a very nice drive going through the S's. She is right on the back there of Stefan. Will she be able to run the slipstream and capitalize on that? If she can hook a toe onto him, I'm pretty sure she can use him to work her way through the field as well. But this battle between Charles and Gijsberg is now they're busy catching up to Rudy. So this is going to become a 3 or 4 or maybe even a 5-way battle there for 8th position. As you can now see Gijsberg trying everything that he can to make his move on Charles. But Charles is just making that polo as wide as a bus. So it's going to be very difficult. You can see Charles running the inside line. Doesn't want to give that good drive into the corner there to Gijsberg, as he's now going hard onto the defense. Gijsberg trying to have a look up on the inside, and makes a bit of contact there with Charles, taking himself out and losing those positions yet again. Like I've mentioned earlier, this is a very tricky track to actually overtake, and going into a corner is not where you want to do it. You will most probably cost your own race as well as another driver. So it's best to rather just stay behind him, get the drive out of the corner, and then go into the fight going out into the straight. As Stefan now pushes Charles Randall wide, and Joni might be able to capitalize on this one, but I'm pretty sure she's going to fall in behind Charles again, as she doesn't want to get that wide line causing any problems for herself. Now she's having a look up in the inside of Charles. Hard on the brakes, almost hitting him from behind, but she does not make any contact. She's got a very nice drive out there. She's running the slipstream of Charles, having a look up on the inside. Will she have enough to make her move on Charles? They are going side by side into turn one. Who's going to back out of this one, and who will be able to take that place? Joni makes her move, running a bit wide, but she does get that 10th position from Charles. Very well done, very good driving from her there. Now they're going through the S's, and Charles is going to start fighting back.
Yeah, just while that battle went on, Adrian and Werner still in the battle for that third place, having a ding dong there. And then, like you say, yeah, Charles and Joni Lee having a nice battle there for 10th.
And now having a look up further in the field, we've got Peter Grobler as well as Rian that is still fighting it out there for that 5th position. Of Rian running the slipstream of Peter, having a look up on the inside, almost late on the brakes, but he has to fall in behind Peter again, as Peter just gets that good drive through the corner, being a bit earlier on the brakes. These cars is so difficult to actually get a hang of, and you will always think, you know, the faster you can go into the corner, the better. But what I've noticed of these cars in a personal point of view is slow into the corner means a faster exit out of the corner. It's quite interesting to see how these cars' dynamics work, and I have to just mention this. The driver that is currently in 5th position, Mr. Peter Grobler himself, is the guy behind the cars. He's the one that built these cars. He's also the one that has converted these tracks. I think it was from R Factor that he converted these tracks into Assetto Corsa. So he's the guy to thank for these brilliant and excellent cars to race, as well as these tracks that we do drive on.
See, now Peter is now trying to get to that inside line, as Rian, I think, just passed him. And now Peter now pressurizing Rian, see if there's opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, no, definitely. Peter is also one of those very patient drivers. He will sit on the back of the car in front of him, and he'll just put that pressure on you and wait for you to make the mistake. He won't make any unnecessary moves or try and take that position from you, which can cause him to lose out on any positions. So he's just going to put that pressure onto Rian and just hope for him to make a mistake so that he can get that position back again. There's about 40 seconds left of this race. We still have Kian Gous in 1st position, who's now got a comfortable 4-second lead. So if he just maintains a cool, calm racing pace, he will definitely be able to put this one in the bag. With Sean in 2nd position, who's got a 6-second lead over Andre that's in 3rd, who again has about a 2-second lead over Werner in 4th. And Werner has a comfortable 7-second lead there over Rian. So the top 4 drivers all comfortably sitting there in those positions, and if they just maintain their cool, they will definitely finish in those positions. But for the rest of the field, it is not that set in stone yet, as Peter and Rian is still fighting for that 5th position. We've got Richard in 7th position, then we've got Rudy in 8th, Stefan in 9th, Joni in 10th, Charles Randall in 11th, Stanley in 12th, Gijsberg in 13th, and Matt in 14th position with an unfortunate DNF. So I'm not too sure if he maybe went off the track and hit the wall, or if he blew his motor or gearbox. But unfortunately, he is out of this race and won't be finishing this one.
Yeah, great start of this Division 2 race. Kian Gous kept it clean, well well driven, and yeah, good result to start off with.
Yeah, no, definitely. Kian is on his final lap at the moment. He's got about 2 corners left before the end of this race. I'm not sure. I think that is Stanley that has lost control over the car, as Kian has now passed him and he's going into the start finish line for this one. So Kian will be finishing there in first position. In second, we'll have Sean going over the line, and we're waiting on Andre as well as Vanner to finish there in third position, and then fourth will be Vanner. Fifth will be Rian as he's coming through the last corner. Very nice battle between him and Peter, as both of them is finishing in fifth and sixth position. Richard also finishing there in seventh position. Rudy and Stefan fighting it outside, bumper to bumper. Just getting over the line as Rudy finishes in 8th, Stefan in 9th, Joni in 10th, Shaw there in 11th position. Then we've got Gijsberg coming through the final corner now as he's busy finishing his race. He had a bit of bad luck out there and unfortunately went from the top 5 all the way down there into 12th position. And then we still have Stanley coming through the second last corner, finishing his race there in 13th position.
Wow, awesome opener for the Aldous Carbante weekend. Yeah, great race, guys, and some nice battles. And I think the guys and ladies kept it reasonably clean. A few problems at the opening laps at the back, but yeah, like you say, if we all respect each other, we will get up to speed quickly again. And yeah, well done.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just having a little bit of a look at the YouTube channel. We still have Basil that is here with us in the YouTube channel. Then we've got Voz joining in as well. It's very nice to see her back in the YouTube channel. I know she's been away for a while. I hope she's doing well. It's always nice to see her here. I think her dad should be in here as well, Craig Wesley. I'm not too sure. Then we still have the SSRL guys always supporting their drivers. And then we've got Dylan Fisaki that has popped in saying hi to everyone. And of course, we've got Cleo that is just spamming this YouTube channel with messages. Always a pleasure to see him in the YouTube chat as well. And if I'm not wrong, I think he'll be joining you for Division 1's commentating.
Oh, that is correct. And as we've mentioned now, yeah, great opening round for round 2 of Aldous Carbante for Division 2. And we will be right back with the next race, the race 2. And as Tommy earlier mentioned, the way the guys finished in race 1 will be the starting positions for race 2. So we will see Kian there in pole up in race 2. So we will be right back. Yeah, great shout out there for our sponsors, Sukamisa Upholstery and Motor Trimming. You can see there on the screen email address there, sukamisa1el@yahoo.com. And they say they recover all furniture in fabric and genuine leather, and they also cover car seats, door panels, and replace carpet and hood linings. So thank you so much, Sukamisa Upholstery and Motor Trimming. And like we are making ready for race 2, going to be another cracker I can foresee. And so Tommy, any thoughts of how the first race went?
Yes, I have to say it was extremely good. I was expecting a lot more contact, a lot more incidents out on the track, but I have to say very, very well done to all of the drivers out on the track. They kept it clean. It was tight racing. It was very nice. Yes, there was one or two incidents out there, but overall, extremely well done to everyone out on the track.
Totally, yes. And I think the first race is also, calming the nerves. And I think the second race, the drivers are then saying, listen, I've practiced now enough, so now is the time,
Yeah, well, usually we see a little bit more contact going into the second race as the guys now wants to fight and got into their groove. So let's hope that the second race goes as well as the first race. Just to see a little bit of I saw one message on the YouTube channel that caught my attention. It's from Morne Fushia that said I should have entered, always sitting on the side thinking I'm not fast enough, yet I did a 1 minute 1.5 on my own practice. Morne, we all think we are not fast enough. We all think we're too slow or not good enough. Get in, join in. There's always space. We've got beer lobbies running on a Friday. We've got free practice during the week. There's always time for you to, get to know the people. And the guys out there is really helpful. They will do anything that you can think of to help a driver to improve, whether it's sharing a setup or showing you the lines of the track or just driving with you side by side to get you to be, more comfortable driving in the pack or battling with someone. The guys from SRAC is really one of the few teams that I know, as well as SSRL, that will actually help you to improve your driving abilities and your racing abilities. So please join in. There is still space in the championship, or in this league. And like I said, we've got a lot of free practice. We've got a lot of fun lobbies to join in. So never feel ashamed or that you're not good enough. Join in and race. Anyone is welcome when it comes to SRAC. Male, female, old, young, it doesn't matter. Join in, race with us, and just have some fun out there on the track.
Right, we're starting to get ready for the second race. About 30 seconds to go. As we see there, Kian Gous, Sean Olivier, Andre Basson, Werner Hubert, Rian van der Westhuizen, Pieter Grobler, Richard Clark, Rudy van der Westhuizen, Stefan Kloete, Joni Lee Markham, got it right to me.
Yeah, yes you did.
And Charles Randall, Gijsberg Nagel, Stanley Venter. So lights are coming up.
Yes, and we are off racing as we now have Kian and I think that is Sean that is
Sean,
going
yes.
side by side into the corner. Who's going to be able to get the whole shot through there? It seems like that's Kian Gous, as Sean is late or earlier on the brakes, just falling in behind him in fourth position. Or let me just wait for my times to update. There we start going. So we've got Sean there in third position, and Rudy in fourth, of Vanner in fifth, Stefan in sixth, Andre in seventh, Rian eighth, Richard in ninth, Charles in 10th, Joni in 11th, Gijsberg 12th, and Stanley in 13th. It seems unfortunately like we have lost Matt out there tonight. So I'm pretty sure he had some bad damage to the car or some technical difficulties on his equipment, as this is sim racing, so things tend to go sideways when it comes to your computer or your steering wheel or things like that. Anything can go wrong. So it's sad to see a driver not being able to finish the race. But overall, we still have a full pack of 13 drivers that is still fighting it out for the championship here in Division 2. Just a bit of a look at the pack. Oh, as we see Vanner and Rudy unfortunately making contact there, with Stefan Klute also being in the mix, as Rudy is now off the track, and there is a little bit of a hiccup going through, as well as another driver that went off the track there. That looks like Andre Basson that went off there as well. Now we have Rudy and Andre all the way to the back of the field, and they will have to fight their way up again. That is sad to see the contact between the drivers, but again, it is racing, it does happen. However, Vanner is a bit on the loose end as he spins out again, being in the way there of Stanley, also making contact with him, and he's off the track at the moment, with Rudy now catching up to the backside of him as well.
Yeah, in the meantime, Jan leading the race, and Sean Olivier very close to be behind him. Peter Grobler trying to chase them down.
Yeah, and I have to say, we've seen these two drivers having a fight for the first positions in quite a few races. I know on the MX5 for some experience, Kian and Sean has also been fighting it out there for the top position as well. Oh no, and Sean runs wide off the track. He killed that curb there, and like I said, you know, these curbs are very dangerous. They do not love these cars. If you hit it, you're going to lose out. And he drops down all the way there into 6th position. So having a look up there in 3rd position, we have Rian and Stefan that is now fighting it out there for 3rd, with Richard right on the backside of them. He also clips the curb. You can see him running a bit sideways there, keeping control of the car as he's now going into that last corner, heading into the start finish. So we've got Sean as well, still there in 6th position. Mr. Charles Randall and Joni Lee going at it again as she's running that slipstream, diving up for that inside line. Will she be able to make the move on him here as they go into turn 1? A little bit early on the brakes. Charles just running slightly lighter on the brakes, getting a wider turn, but keeps that 7th position. But she's sitting there on the back of him, hoping to be able to make a move going through the next corner. But she unfortunately also has to have a look at Gijsberg, who is sitting in 9th position right on the heels of her there. So he's also just putting a bit of pressure on her, and also thinking, wait, let me just see what these two drivers do, and then I can always just capitalize on a mistake from these guys. Or if she makes a move, he can just follow through there as well.
Now battles right through the field. In the meantime, Kian got a 2nd lead over Peter Grobler, and Rian van der Westhuizen, Richard Clark and Stefan now all together, and Sean Olivier also there in the mix. All of them battling for that 3rd place.
And it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens here, as there's two drivers running side by side, almost 4 cars going side by side into turn 1. As we see 2 position changes as Sean moves up there into 5th, as well as Stefan. I think, no, that was Rian moved up into 3rd, and Sean moved up into 5th position there. As these guys are really fighting hard going through. You can now see Sean putting on that pressure there on Richard, hoping for him to make a mistake, as there was some contact between Rian and Richard, and Rian spins that one out going off the track, rejoins safely, but unfortunately loses out on 3 positions there. Now the midfield fighting is very close times. Anyone makes a mistake and you're going to lose at least 1 or 2 positions, maybe even 3 positions like we just saw here. As Sean and Richard is now fighting it out for the 3rd position, with Sean still sitting there in 3rd, Richard running his slipstream. He's most probably going to try and dive up for the inside, but no, he rather stays back and says, no, I'm not going to take the chance. I'll rather wait for another place on the track to make my move here.
Oh, well, all those action was going on. Joni Lee got past Charles Randall, and she's now also right behind Rian for the battle for 6th place.
And she's doing very well out there on the track. She's staying to her consistency, just putting the pressure on and keeping that car on the track and she's definitely gonna stay in this fight and try and work her way up in the field.
I see up front, Peter is still maintaining about a 0.7 gap from Kian in second place. He's only running a little bit wider, see if she can get a better run out of the last corner, looking for that inside. And she's now next to Rian.
She's got her nose in there. She's a bit earlier on the brakes. Rian unfortunately turning in, taking that line, pushing her off the track, and she's losing out a little bit of time. But she must just keep her cool and keep her mind clear and just fight her way back into that one. Behind them on the field, we have a very nice battle going on here. I think that is for 9th position. We've got Andre, Gijsberg and Stanley, all three of these drivers sitting bumper to bumper as they are now trying to get into the battles going up the field again, as Gijsberg has lost quite a bit of positions, as well as Andre with the start of this race. And then we also have Stanley in there. We have Vanner also in the mix there. So we've got 5, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers, yes, that is fighting it out there for the 8th position on the track. And that's the very nice thing when it comes to these Division 1 and 2 races, is the guys are so close on the times that you've got a battle no matter where you are on the field. If it's in the front of the field or if it is at the back of the pack. I can see Peter Grobler now in the front of the field, working his way onto the back there of Kian Goos, that closed that gap a little bit down to a 0.5 second gap between the two of them. So you can see also again, we've got a little bit of a longer race this one. The previous one was 17 minutes plus a lap, or 15 minutes plus 1 lap. And now we have 17 minutes plus a lap. So the tire wear as well as the fuel usage is going to play a big role in this one to see who's going to finish where on the track.
Either Andre and Gijsberg and Stanley and Werner, they're hunting down for that 8th place position. Yeah, so the guys are getting up to speed again after a few issues. But yeah, nice racing so far.
And I know Andre is out there for his first one today. So this is his debut sim racing race, if I can say it in that way. First time racing with a bunch of people online. So he's doing very well for someone out there for the first time. And I have to say, well done to him for keeping his cool and just maintaining his racing positions out on the track. However, he has lost a few, but you can see him working his way back up quite quickly.
I'm just sitting and wondering if we've got a few racing scouts out there in the pavilions looking at the talent today.
You know, that's something I've always wondered about. If there's actual people that watches these streams and goes and says, okay, this is a nice person to maybe, you know, get involved in a different group, or, you know, to take up the ranks. I do know that Ford South Africa had a little bit of a competition. I think you were part of that, where that a nice competition that was going, and I think the top 3 drivers is now representing Ford on an international level for sim racing.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, the guys must use the opportunities that comes, you know, especially in the Ford Nation Cup that was ran, and it's still actually going down. So yes, the talent is there. So I think also for us as SRAC, we should look at these guys and you know, pull them in and get the speedy ones, you know, to drive for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like we know, you know, we are known as SRAC, which stands for Sim Race Africa Crew. So we race as a team, although we race against each other in our own leagues like we're doing now. But when we go to a different league, like with Sim Race Experience or SRAC, we race together as a team. So it's always nice to get some new blood in and get the guys to join in. I'm just having a little bit of a look where the battles is busy going on, and we still have that battle now for, I think that would be for 5th position, with Richard, Rian, Joni, Andre, and Gijsberg Nagel. All 5 of these drivers is fighting it out there for that top 5th or top 5 position at the moment. These guys are doing well, so they're not just attacking, but they're also defending, and that becomes very difficult when you have to focus on the person in front of you as well as the person behind you. So this is where the consistency and where it comes in, if you can just maintain your cool and keep your nerves under control on the track.
Definitely just looking there at Joni Lee doing a very, very good job there in 7th place, and looking for opportunities around Rian there, going to look for that inside line again.
And you can see her running that slipstream as they're coming out of that corner or out of the corner into the start finish, but she just does not have the power to make a move there, so she stays behind Gijsberg, as she's now got Andre that's right there behind her, but he's going to have to be careful because she's got the racing line going into the S's. So these are all drivers that is very close at on top of each other, and this is going to be a very nice battle to watch. I do know that Kian is still in the lead with a 4-second lead over Peter, so I'm pretty sure he made a bit of a mistake somewhere. And then we've got Sean there in 3rd position, who's got about a 1.5 second gap between him and Peter. And then I think the battle that we need to watch is unfortunately this mid-back battle that is here for 5th position with Richard, Rian, Joni, Andre and Gijsberg, all these drivers that are really trying everything that they can to get to that top position.
Gijsberg now trying to get to that inside line next to Andre.
Yeah, and you can see that move happening there from Gijsberg on Andre. So Gijsberg just moves up there into that 8th position, and he's now going to start trying to work his way onto the backside there of Joni, who's doing a very good job at attacking there on Rian. And she's got a little bit of a breather there. There's about a 0.5 second gap between her and Gijsberg, so nothing too serious to worry about yet, but she's going to have to push everything that she can to keep him behind her.
Now Andre now trying to get back to and closer to Gijsberg, getting up to the last corner, see how the drive through the last corner goes.
And it's also quite interesting to see the different lines that the drivers is taking through these corners. Some of the drivers goes through an early braking point, going a little bit wider into the corner and getting that very nice drive going out. Other drivers brakes a bit later, cutting it close into the apex and just keeping it very nice and tight through the corners, hoping to get a very good defending line through the turns. So it all depends on your driving style, whether you going to run a wider or a closer line. You can see Gijsberg now right there on the back of Joni. Fortunately, Richard runs a little bit wide now, allowing these drivers behind him to get close to him as well. And we still have Rian in the lead there for the 5th position. So these guys are really fighting it out as hard as they can, as they're now starting to make some mistakes as the driver starts running wide. You can see the tire wear really coming into play now, as Rian makes that move on Joni, taking that 6th position from her. No, I'm wrong. She's still in 7th.
Yeah, she's still there, yeah.
He did try and have a look up on the inside, but unfortunately could not make the move stick. But now you've got Andre again on the attack there on Gijsberg, putting pressure on, and Gijsberg running wide and losing that position as well as a lot of time there. And unfortunately, he's out of this battle for 5th position. But now we've got Andre there right on the back of Joni again. And behind them, we've now got a 3-way battle going for 9th position with Gijsberg, Stanley and Vander. So now there's a new battle brewing out there on the track again.
Yeah, it's quite difficult for me to jump between the two battles. But yeah, the guys are doing a good job. And especially Joni Lee as well, you know, in that position where she is, trying to get an opportunity to pass and also defending. Great job.
Yeah, no, she's doing a very good job there on the track. Unfortunately, running a little bit wide, going out of that final corner into the start finish. But she's got a very nice drive going out there. She can see that Andre is not catching onto the backside of her. She's pulling a little bit of a gap, and she's closing that door onto Rian there again. So she's got a very wide drive going through there, and then she's got a very nice fast run into the start finish straight, as she's now fighting again to keep Andre behind her and trying to catch up onto the back there of Rian.
Yeah, while all these battles are happening in the midfield, Kian is now still up ahead. Sean Olivier now is in second place. I wonder if Peter Grobler had a problem going off track maybe.
I think that is very possible, because you can see there's about a 3-second gap between Sean and Peter as they went over the start finish. Now they've got 2 laps left to go for this race, as the timer is almost done. There's 15 seconds left of the time, and then they start their final lap as they go over the start finish line.
Andre now managed to get past Joni Lee on the main straight, and now as I was switching to Kian in first position, he actually went off, so I quickly switched the camera to another place. I just don't want it to be a commentator's curse. So Kian, yes, just keep it on track, young man. You've got it in the bag.
Yeah, no, definitely. We unfortunately. Oh no, that is bad luck on my side. I was busy watching Andre, Joni, and Gijsberg, and unfortunately, there was contact between Gijsberg and Joni, and they lost out quite a lot of positions, where she has now dropped down from 8th position down there into the 10th position, almost at the end of this race. That was a very bad one. But unfortunately, again, as the lap starts going on, these cars' grip starts getting less and less, and mistakes starts happening. And she unfortunately runs wide of the tires, going off track, and falls down into that 11th position as she starts her final lap.
As you mentioned, tires going down, brakes warm, and so less grip. So all of that, you must always be aware of that. But yeah, we'll.
Yeah, no, definitely. But overall, it was extremely good racing. I'm having a little bit of a look at the front of the field. You can see Kian Goos playing around a bit, throwing that little Polo sideways, going through the corners, as he knows that he's got a comfortable lead there in first position, as he finished this race in the top position. Very nicely 1-1 for this day. Keep getting the top spot for this entire event. So we've got Kian in first, Sean second, Peter Grobler in third, Stefan in fourth, Richard fifth, Andre sixth, Rian seventh, Vander in eighth, Stanley in ninth, Charles coming home there in 10th, Joni Lee in 11th, Gijsberg in 12th, and then Rudy van der Westhuizen finishing in 13th position.
I need to talk to the young man, because when I switched to him, we went through that last corner and he went sideways. And I thought, okay, another commentator's curse coming up. He almost gave me a heart attack there.
No, I must say we do know Kian as well as Melvin, to be that kind of people, or that kind of drivers, where they have a little bit of fun when they see they've got a nice gap and it's on the final corner, where they'll just pull the handbrake a bit on the start of the turn and throwing a bit sideways, drifting it through the corner. It's kind of their driving style when it comes to that, always just having a little bit of fun out on the track.
Yeah, so that was race 2. Kian doing a double for the day there. Well done, young man. And yeah, some new guys coming up. Great debuts. And I have to say, I think my driver for the day is Joni Lee, because I think she did a very a good job there in maintaining and defending. So very nicely driven there, Joni Lee.
Yeah, no, definitely. If I have to give a vote as well for driver of the day for Division 2, it will definitely be Joni Lee out there. She did extremely well, fighted her way through the field, got up into that 6th and 7th positions, and then unfortunately a little bit of contact between her and Gijsberg that threw her down out of the top 10. But overall, she did extremely well, and for me, my vote for driver of the day definitely goes to her. So the guys on the YouTube channel busy watching, please drop us a message on the channel. Tell us who you think is your driver of the day, and we will definitely give them a shout out at the end of the day. When Peter was always, it was fun to be in the commentators booth with you, but unfortunately, I quickly need to jump out. We are gonna get ready for Division 1, and I see that the COVID inspectors are here, so they're just going to check everyone's things, as well as we just want to run the driver's briefing for Division 1 as well, and then we'll see all of the viewers back here in a few minutes.
Great, thank you, Tommy. Tommy Leary there for commentating with me, and yeah, good luck for your Division 1 race.
Thank you, Peter. I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of the racing.
Well, what can I say? Nice opening round there for Division 2, with Keon Goos doing well, taking the double. And yeah, we will be back within a few minutes for the Division 1's racing. And I will also welcome Cleopas Aula in a commentating booth with me. Yeah, let's see what the Division 1 racing will do. We'll be back in a while. And we are back for the Division 1 race of today. Still coming up from the Aldous Carbante Raceway there in Port Elizabeth. And we are currently looking at visuals for the Division 1 practice. And yeah, and please welcome with me in the commentating booth Cleopas Aula. Cleopas, what are your thoughts of that first racing for the Division 2 guys that we had just now?
Wow. Division 2 was amazing. I saw some close racing, close overtaking. There was so much pressure there. I'm pretty sure many of the viewers who are on YouTube saw how amped I was in the comment section. I was typing like a madman. It was insane. I loved it. I really loved it.
I have to say the guys and ladies pulled out all the stops there, and it was great entertainment and nice to watch. Some nice battles that we saw on track. And if I can go on to what we've seen in Division 2, I think this track is going to hot up with this Division 1 race starting soon.
Yes, that's for sure. I must say, after looking at some of those laps in Division 2, I was thinking, okay, these guys are really good, but now we're actually going to see some aliens. Going to see some crazy lap times, some crazy driving as well.
Yeah, you're talking about the lap times there. I see Clinton Beseda, they're currently in the practice session, 1 minute 0057. So almost getting closer to that 1 minute bracket. But then, yeah, as we saw Keon Goos with a 1 minute 00.1, that was a rapid lap that the young man did for the Division 2 times. Very, very closely up there. Could have been, like you say, at this stage in second position in the Division 2 class after the Division 1 class.
Yeah. That is so true. What's actually quite funny is in second position is his father, Melvin Goos.
Yes, yeah, that's cool.
Up in similar times.
I think the rivalry between father and son there is quite nice to see, and it's nice to see the father and son combinations. You know, we're also having Johan Niemand and Gerard Niemand in the SRAC team, doing very well as father and son team. Yeah, so great to see.
So amazing. Just if we look at what we see in the practice, can you see the split between first and, if I'm not mistaken, 20th? It's all within 1 second of one another during practice. Can you imagine what we're going to see in quali then? This is insane.
Crazy, yeah, I have to say, I'm just noticing that as well now you mentioned it. It is crazy, those splits are thousands of a second splitting the guys.
Yes. And one thing that I also find quite interesting is we might be thinking, okay, when you look at Waldo and Blake Kruger, who are sitting on P21 and P22, that they're far off the pace, but they're actually not, because they're just, a few thousandths of a second off, if not a few hundredths off. So they're really, really close. Everyone is grouped up all together. That's amazing.
Yeah, and there's this situation where you can 0.2 or 0.3 jumps you 10 positions. As so tight is the field.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting race to see. But then again, also with all the drivers so closely packed to one another, it makes it very tense, and hopefully there won't be too much rubbing, but we expect to see a little bit of rubbing most probably, because these drivers are going to push it to the limit and see who has the guts to hold it out and try to take the win.
Totally true there. But as I say, you know, rubbing is racing, and so we don't want too much of it. And yeah, as we saw in the Division 2 race, some rubbing there, but and it also contributed to some nice battles as well.
Yes, that is true. That is true. One thing I wanted to bring to your attention that I just saw, Waldo actually improved on his times. He's in a 1 minute 0.9, meaning that Blake Kruger is the only one who's out of the 1 minute flat marks, basically. So it's pretty close. Everyone is within a second of each other, basically.
I have to say, this is going to be quite a race. Just for the viewers out there, let's just quickly run through the drivers on track. So we've got Linton Besaidnout there, up in first position so far in practice. Melvin Goos. And then we've got Dylan Versaghi, James Leach Jr., Jay de Villiers there in 5th place. There's some mentioning of the drivers on the track. James Crook is there, Jandre Dippenaar doing well there in 7th place. Sean Lerero, if I can recall, was up at the sharp end of the first round there at Pakisa. And Craig Wesley, welcome back, Craig. Craig had a little bit of a holiday or off time, and yeah, great to see him back on track. Wow, there's a lot of guys. Herman Nieuwoud, Wilrod Dippenaar also there. It is so amazing to see how close these guys are, and you thought, you know, these are quick guys, but you know, this whole field are just quick.
so quick. I remember racing some of these guys and also watching some of them in other leagues, like the guys from Leach Racing, James Leach. These guys are really fast. So this is another level of skill that we're busy watching. Not to say that the Div 2 drivers are not skillful, because you must remember some guys move from Div 1 to Div 2 and Div 2 to Div 1, but wow, the split says it all, I say. And this is practice, not even qualifying yet.
Yes, totally. Yeah, just a shout out there to, it seems like a newcomer, Jaco Noordman. So welcome to the league. He's in 16th place at this stage, getting to grips on the track conditions. Yeah, so great to see some new guys in Division 1 as well.
That's true. That's true. It's always good to see new guys in every division. But the fact that they actually managed to get into Div 1, that's a show of skill right there.
Totally, yes. Yeah, we've basically finished with the track, with the practice session. So we'll just need to get off the server and connect to the new session, and we will be right back with the action for qualifying. And we are back for the Division 1 race at Aldo Scabante, and the session we are going to go with now is qualifying. I see some of the guys on their outlaps, and as we've mentioned and as we saw in the practice, 1 second covering the whole field is just awesome, and it's crazy. So very excited for this race. Cleo, your thoughts so far?
This is going to be quite interesting. Also because of the fact that we have the balance of performance. So some of the top drivers had a ballast added to their cars. And even with that ballast in place, they're clocking crazy times, really fast times, with an extra person basically in their car or driving with a family in the back in this little Polo. It's amazing. So let's actually see how these drivers actually do this. It's quite insane.
I have to say some of the quicker guys, you know, like you say, the ballast. I mean, the guy who won the Pakistan round got 75 kilograms added weight, and up to 10th place from the first round gives you 9 kilograms. So yeah, the added weight gives you. You need to work so much harder to get the setup right to counter for that.
Yeah, that is true. But we can also see some of these guys and their race engineers know how to do magic, because how are they actually getting these cars to fly around the track with so much extra weight, and they just manage to do it like it's nothing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is so true.
Ooh. I've actually started to see some laps are coming in, and once again, one top lap right now, Wilvo Dippenaar with a 1 minute .38. Melvin Hoos P2 with 1 minute .381. Tommy Leary 1 minute .389. I better stop saying the 1 minute part and just start talking about the actual decimal places now.
Totally, yes.
Andre Dippenaars with, oh, someone just jumped in. Quentin Besadenhout and Sean Laredo improved. They took P1 and P2, so there's a 233, 377, then back to Voro at the 3838 for Melvin, Tommy with a 389, Jandre with a 417, and okay, the guys are just clocking in these times. I'm not gonna go down the list that way anymore.
Yeah, we can already see the guys are closely matching their times for the practice session, and yeah, it's going to be quite exciting to see how it all pans out.
One thing I'm wondering if maybe the viewers don't know, because I've never driven around this track before, but I'm seeing these sausages all over the place. Maybe you can shed some light on those sausages and how dangerous it actually is, because I see a lot of sparks kicking up when I see some of these drivers go over these sausages on some of these corners.
Yes, I think let us jump on board with one of the guys. He's going to go out on a out lap. I think we're on board with Sean Laredo here. So if you can see, those curves are quite high, and like you say, you know, what we've seen in the Division 2 race as well, you know, if you hit those curves and sausages, it just unsettles the car big time. I think mainly due to, you know, track limits and things like that. I would think if those curbs were quite flat, you know, guys will probably ride them on the inside to get better racing lines. But yeah, I think in this situation you have to be so aware of the positioning of this whole track limits and all the curbs that's on the track, because it will affect your race. One of the curbs that I see on the last corner, it's quite flat. I think it's probably the only corner that has a flat curb. The rest is all quite high, and the little sausages, you know, through the S is also quite can unsettle the car quite badly.
Oh yes, those sausages are evil. I see Melvin's improving on his time right now by not that much, but he goes to P2 with a 358 basically, right behind Clinton Besadenhout. Also just trying to see who else is actually trying to improve on their lap times. I see Jason Nell is basically half a second up. Oh, but in the last corner he lost quite a bit of time, but he's still up though, so he might be able to jump into the just over Sean Hans maybe. No, not enough to go over him with a 1 minute .1.133.
And as we saw in the practice, there's already a 1 second split between first and bottom. Yeah, the top 22 within a second is just something crazy.
Right now I see Brett is basically improving on his time a bit, but he's fighting this car through some of these corners right now. And he has some traffic in front of him, so maybe he can get into some slipstream on the way to the start-finish line, maybe. But the last corner, he just went a little bit slow through there, and his delta is a bit off now.
I saw him just lost some time there on the last corner. Cycling through the
Another
field.
driver who's actually quite high up on his delta right now is Basil van Rijn. As we know, Basil's running also with a ballast inside his car, and he's coming through the start-finish line right now. He's nearly 2/10 up. And his time is good. He jumps up to P12.
As we mentioned before, I mean, a 0.1 will jump you 4 or 5 positions easily.
Yes, that is so true.
He's trying to get someone to see where the guys are improving on their lap times. James Leach Jr. is basically 0.1 up on his delta.
One thing that I see that's actually quite interesting is, as we know, Clinton Bezuidenhout's sitting at P1 at the moment, but he actually has quite a train of cars behind him. So we might have a slipstream train where guys are going to try and just follow his line to improve their own times. But obviously the danger with that is, as you're following someone so closely, you might mess up some of your corners, and we can see some of those guys, their deltas are pretty far off their fastest laps.
Yes, I think a guy who's improving now is James Leach Jr. He was slipstreaming also through the last corner, and he actually jumped into second place.
Leach Racing has come out to play this evening. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and just look at Craig Wesley there in third place with a 1:0.2.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, the aliens have come out to play, Peter. They have come out to play. They're showing and staking their claim on Earth by riding around Aldo in such crazy times. Oh, and now I'm starting to see Jason now passing some drivers as if we were racing already during quali, but I guess it's just because he wants to get some clean air in front of him so that he can try to get an even better lap than what he's already done.
It seems he was up on his delta through the lap, but then, like you say, he caught some slower guys. And that's the guys like you mentioned, just need to give make some room for themselves to get a good run on qualifying, because otherwise someone will just interfere with your lap and
And I think we're also starting to see a bit of the mind game starting, where some of these drivers have gone back into the pits, but they're not actually moving. I think they're just waiting. They're happy with their time and probably will do one more lap just to set the pace and see if they can try claim pole from Clinton. Because Clinton's time of a 1 minute .041, that's going to be tough to beat. Can someone actually break the 1 minute and go with a 59 or 58 maybe? If they're really an alien?
It would be quite a thing to see if someone goes into the 59s. I can't recall a lap time like that. I don't know during the week if there was someone that in the seeding servers, perhaps.
I haven't seen one. I'm hoping someone was saving that little move for today. I was hoping, because I mean, .041, it's close to a 59. It's really close. I'm pretty sure someone could do it if they just get everything lined up just right.
Yes, I saw Charles Randall mention there that 59 being avoiding everyone this week. So seems like no one has been there yet, but Clinton is so close.
So close. And he's using Wilro right now with a little slipstream So maybe he can get something because Volvo Dippenaar is pretty fast. He is in P6 at the moment with 0.361. So maybe Clinton has something. And wow, Melvin just improved on his time, got P2 away from James Leach Jr. So yeah, everyone is leapfrogging each other right now.
Melvin, 0.003 of a second up. You know, the split is so close for that second place and third place. I see Clinton actually did improve a little bit on a 0.26 now.
Wow. Just knock it down slowly but surely.
And meanwhile, Blake Kruger has improved his time under 1 minute 1 and getting up to speed as well.
Wowza. It is amazing. One thing I just see in the YouTube is going pretty crazy as well. People are also shocked at the times that we're seeing. So this is looking really, really good. So, wow, I'm just amazed at the skill that is on display tonight.
Now with about 1 minute to go in qualifying, as we still got Clinton Besaidnout, Melvin Ghost, James Leach, Craig Wesley, Jay de Villiers there in 5th place, Wilro Dippenaar 6, Jandre Dippenaar in 7, Sean Lerero 8, Michael Rust and in 9th, and then James Crook bringing up the top 10.
And just again, as we said before, that's 21 drivers all within a second of one another right now. And Sean Hards is just a little bit off in last place at the moment, but that doesn't mean he's going to finish last, because as we know, after qualifications we do the race, and the race is a whole different ballgame.
Totally, and that's where the strategy, the tire wear, the fuel load, and the consistency, everything plays a role for the guys to you know, make a good race out of it. I'm still very anxious to see what's gonna go down the line, especially at that start.
Yes, because we're going to see a lot of racecraft here. Some of these guys raced in real life, so they might have that edge. But then again, we also have guys who have been doing this for many years. So those ones also have a bit of experience to show what they can do. Jink on the inside, go on the outside. Let's see what actually happens.
Great, I think, yeah, qualifying over. We are just going to take a little break and we will be right back with the first race after Division 1. Great, and we are back live for the first race, and we are in overtime, just waiting for the server to go live for the start of the first race. And yeah, as we saw that Division 1 qualifying, 1 second the whole field, and the midfield battle is going to be super crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be intense watching this race. We're just thinking about turn 1. If everyone is so fast in practice, turn 1, everyone might be bunched up together. So people will have their elbows out, their knees out, their feet out, everything, trying to make sure that they keep their position.
Now, just a quick recap of the qualifying positions. Clinton Besaidnout, Melvin Gous, James Leach Jr. then the top 3, followed by Craig Wesley, Jay de Villiers, Wilro Dippenaar, John Ray Dippenaar, Sean Lorero, Michael Rust, and James Crook, the top 10. So yeah, Tommy Leary Moss 11th, Luke Sylvester, Dylan Pesagi, Basil van Rijn. Who else is there? In 15th is Herman Nieuwoud, Brett Krokamp. In 16th place, Jaco Noordman, 17. Johan Niemand, Waldo Swigers, Jason L, Blake Kruger. So 21 drivers. Looking forward for a very exciting race.
Yeah, this is going to be intense, very much so. Don't mean to try and overhype this, but we all can see how this race is going to go. So many drivers on such a small track doing some crazy times. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
About 50 seconds to go for the start of the race. Getting everything ready.
So everyone is on the grid, getting ready to race down to turn 1. When you raced on this track, Peter, was it tough going from the start line to turn 1, like how it was in Div 2?
I think basically if you look at the starting position for the pole position driver is on the inside line. So they should have a fairly, I don't say easy run down to turn 1, but it just depends on how the start goes. If Melvin gets a good start from the second place, we're up for a battle.
Oof. Lights out. Let's see how this goes.
Now Melvin just had a little bit of a slow start there.
A lot of rubbing that we see.
I think Jay just had a little bit of a problem there going into the first corner. Clinton is on his way with James Leach Jr.
Yeah, those two are just trying to run away from everyone else, trying to get away from all that traffic. But we can see in the mid-pack, they're all bunched up together. It's really, really tight there.
And just a quick look at the YouTube stream there. I see Melvin said he had a little bit of a problem with his wheel. So he's unfortunately jumped back to pits.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But who knows, maybe he can climb back up.
Yeah, I see. Well, probably you need to sort out that technical issue there, and hopefully we can see him. James Leach Jr. and had a little bit of a problem there, slightly late on the brakes there. And you see Sean Lorero now there in 4th place after everything that happened in the first 2 opening laps.
Just wanted to bring your attention to Herman Nieuwoud, sorry. I'm not sure what happened, but I do know after turn 1 and 2 again on this lap, there was a lot of contact between the drivers in the mid-pack, and he fell off completely. So he's in last place right now, but I'm pretty sure he's looking forward to capitalize on further contact that I see is happening elsewhere on the track.
Yeah, so look at Luke Sylvester and Jean-Ray Dippenaar having a battle for that 6th place. Jean-Ray now next to James there going down the main straight. James on the outside line. No, Luke Sylvester, sorry. Also Waldo Swiegers just behind Jean-Ray Dippenaar there.
And just also for the viewers to understand how intense it is going into turn 1, from what I saw on the telemetry, some of these cars are going close to 210 kilometers an hour just before they start braking for turn 1. So imagine doing that with 3 cars all around you. That's a lot of pressure, that takes a lot of guts to do, and I commend all the drivers who took part in today's racing in both divisions to be able to do that.
See, behind Luke Sylvester now is a little train of about 6 cars forming. Yeah, Luke Sylvester, Jean-Ray Dippenaar, Waldo Swiegers in 8th place, Basil van Rey 9, Dylan Versaghi, Michael Rust and Brett Krokamp, all of them in a mix, looking for that 6th place of Luke.
Yes, that train is intense. It looks like it's probably Basil might be seen as the food cart on that train right now, but don't forget everyone wants to go and get food at the food cart on the train, so let's see, maybe that food cart will overtake a few other carts and become the lead cart, because Clinton Besadenhout is just running away with it right now, and Craig is slowly trying to catch him up, but as you know, when you're ahead of the pack, you just run your own race.
Now we saw Basil there getting past Dylan Versaghi there for, what's it, 9th place? And like you say, yeah, the guys are still about 0.2, 0.3 from each other in this little train. But yeah, Clinton Besadenhout 3-second lead from Craig Wesley with Wilro Dippenaar in 3rd, Sean Loureiro in 4th place so far.
Ooh, I think I'm going to see quite a hectic battle by Jaco Nordman. He's chasing after Blake Kruger. Maybe he's going to try to do something on the inside of turn 1, see if he has the guts to actually hold the position. Ooh,
Yeah, unfortunately,
and there was contact.
just went in a little bit too deep and yeah, got contact with, I think, with Blake there.
But he safely rejoins the race. He's in last place at the moment, but let's see how it keeps going.
This midfield battle for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th is sorting up quite nicely. The battle, Basil and Jean-Ray Dippenaar going heads to toe there. They side by side, 4 cars during the last corner. Jean-Ray, Basil, Dylan and Michael Rust also in there.
This is quite interesting. We can see Melvin got his wheel set up again, but he's one of the back markers now, and he's surrounded by so many cars. So I'm sure he's going to give space for all the other cars to pass him because he is a back marker. But then again, he also wants to try climb back up through the pack and unlap himself. So quite a fine line to traverse over.
It's running through the field quickly. Clinton, Craig and Wilro Dippenaar still the top 3. Dylan Versaghi running a little bit wide through the SS there, which allowed Michael Rust to go through for 10th place.
And we're coming down the straight, the start-finish straight again. Everyone is there, and we looking at turn 1. Are there any close calls or close battles? I see is that Jean-Ray Dippenaar, that's Wilro Dippenaar, and Sean Loureiro, who are pretty close to one another. And I just see that there was an accident a bit further back somewhere.
Yeah, I think Jean-Ray Dippenaar at a moment there in turn 1. I'm not sure he's gonna get up to speed quickly again. Just looking at Sean Loureiro behind Wilro Dippenaar now. I think Wilro managed to get past Sean.
Those two are going to fight for that position. It looks like they're just going to hold on to one another. As stated before, I'm pretty sure he has a tow rope connected to his Polo, and he's just going to have him pull him around the track.
We were weaving a little bit there, the start of the main straight. John taking the long way, the wider line.
I can see right at the back of the pack right now, Dan de Villiers, he's fighting his Polo at the moment, but he got it back under control. He went off track a little bit, but let's just actually see if he can just keep it up, keep it together, and just run his race. He's running his race. I see Clinton is still putting quite a massive gap between himself and Craig, but then again, as we saw last week, you might be far ahead in front, but if you lose just a little bit of concentration, you go off in one corner, second place will come and capitalize on that position.
Now the battle for third between Wilro and Sean is quite heated, and yeah, that gives Craig Wesley a little bit of a breathing room up there in second place. While these guys are battling, he might be using the opportunity to just pull out that gap.
I just wanted to bring your attention to Herman Nieuwoud, Blake Kruger, Jean-André Dippenaar, and Jaco Nordman. They're all in their own mini train again. This is what's so awesome about this Polo Cup racing, is that there's so many trains on the track everywhere.
Yeah, it's almost
so much action.
Yes, you can't keep up with the action, you know, through the field. Like I say, Jean-André Dippenaar, after his little problem there in turn 1, is getting up to speed again. Yeah, and Jaco Nordman, yeah, he's doing a great job for his first race out.
Well, that is awesome. First race is out, and they're showing all the skills, showing their pace. That is amazing to see. Ooh, we had a little bit of an incident right at the end of the final corner when guys came out onto the start-finish straight, but looks like everyone is still all right, and they're still going well.
And Michael Russ was looking for that inside line to get past Basil van Rijn, and but unfortunately had to fall back. And Brett Krokam is now right behind them as well.
What I'm actually seeing also right now, James Crook looks like he's just trailing Wilro Dippenaar. He looks like he's just holding on to the rear bumper of that Polo, trying to put that pressure on Wilro, and let's see if who's going to buckle under that pressure.
Now they're going down the main straight, see who's got a better drive out. It seems like James is getting right into the slipstream there, but Wilro is defending that inside line.
So much action everywhere. These drivers, I wish everyone could actually be on track just to see this, because everywhere you look, there's something happening. Someone's passing someone else.
I have to say, I see Melvin is also now getting up to speed again. He's trying to get himself unlapped through the field, having a battle there with James Leach Jr. and James having a battle with Johan Niemand in 12th place. And just up front of them, Brett Krokam and Michael Rust having a battle for 10th place.
Wow. This is some really tight racing. Trenton Besadenhout extends his lead from Craig Wesley. But then we also see Sean Laredo. I'm not too sure. Is he actually catching up to Craig right now?
Yeah, I think that, yes, he is. I think that the gap was probably about around 3 seconds. It's now 1.5 seconds. So he got a little bit of a breathing room with that battle from Wilro that James Crook and Wilro now is almost taken over for 4th.
One thing I'm noticing is those two trains near the back of the grid. Oh, someone went off the track. Is that Jean-Ray Dippenaar who's off
Jean-Ray
the track?
Dippenaar, yes, and also Herman Nieuwoud also jumped to pits.
Oh, that is unfortunate to see.
Need to sort out some technical problems there. See, Brett Krocomp now went past Michael Rust.
I'm just jumping into the YouTube chat. I see that there's some of the drivers. I see it's that Peter Grobela who's talking about the weight of the cars is actually hurting them in the end. So that's what the ballast does. It really makes it difficult for those drivers who won or placed well in the previous race. So they have to really fight to keep their positions.
See, Wilro running a little bit wide there through one of the corners there, giving James Cook that position fourth. Then James also had a little bit of a problem having a slide that he's defending that inside line coming into the last corner. Wilro going the long way around and seems like he's got a better drive out of the last corner.
But then it's who's in the tow. Can he do something then on turn one at the end?
I think because of that bad drive for James out of the corner, he had to get behind Wilro again.
Yeah.
You see down the field, Jason Nell now putting pressure on James Leach Jr. There for 13th place. Jacco Noordman had a little bit of an off. Seems he's back on track again and getting up to speed again. Terry Moss had a quiet race so far. I think he's just getting the feel of the car and getting the track conditions under his belt and see where he can get opportunities to get past. He's also following that train, I think, from 11th place. Michael Ras, Johan Iman, James Leach, Jason Nell and Terry Moss. Tommy Leary Moss there. 5-car battle for 11th place.
One thing I wanted to also bring to your attention was I see Clinton Besadenhout is catching up towards Jean-Ray Dippenaar. So he's finding a back marker here, and I think he's getting ready to try and do a pass because he's slowly reeling him back in.
And as soon as you are the leader and you start lapping the slower guys, you know, can also affect your race. And yeah, I think the guys should just be aware of the leader coming through.
That's 100% correct. I'm pretty sure what's going through Clinton's mind right now is that he just needs to get past Jean-Ray cleanly. Even though they had a little bit of contact there, but I'm sure he just needs to get past him cleanly so he can just keep racing and keep going.
Tommy Leary now getting next to Jason Nell coming into the last corner. And I think Tommy might have a better drive right in the slipstream of Jason Nell. Diving for that inside line just up in front of him, Johan Niemand and James Leach Jr. also. Yeah, and Tommy Leary had made that move passing Jason Nell.
And I just saw now that Clinton got past Jean-Ray Dippenaar, so he's free to keep running. But Sean Lareo is catching Craig Wesley so quick, and we are on the last lap actually right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it went so quickly with all the action.
So much action. I just looked up at the time and I was a bit confused. I thought, oh wait, the race is nearly over already.
It is over. So Clinton Besadenhout, Craig Wesley, Sean Lerero, Wilro Dippenaar, James Crook, Waldo Swiggers, Luke Sylvester there in a solid 7th place, Dylan Versage 8, Basil van Rijn 9, Brett Krocomp 10th, Michael Rust 11th, Johan Niemand, Tommy Leary Moss, Jason Nell, James Leach Jr., Jacco Noordman, and Jay de Villiers, Blake Kruger, Jean-Ray Dippenaar, And then Melvin, we know, had a little technical problem with his wheel right at the start of the race. Wow, that went so quickly and we almost forgot that it's the end of the race already.
There were so many battles all over the race, and I'm also just looking at the lap times that these drivers put down. At race pace, drivers are putting down quali lap times. Pretty much all the drivers, again, are within a second of one another with their best laps, but they're just slightly slower. These drivers are insane.
I have to say action-packed, and that's why I say, you know, what they say is when you're having fun, time flies by, and it was so quick. I was still focusing on some battles, and then, like you say, it was the last lap already. Looking forward to the second race.
That's when you know it's good racing. That's how you know it's good racing. So race 2 is going to come up, and that's going to be quite interesting.
Now we will be right back with race 2. Yeah, just a minute or so. Wow, what a first race of the Division 1 coming live from Aldo Scribante racetrack. And we are getting ready for race 2. So Cleopas there, that first race was so full of action. Time went by us as quickly as it started. Any thoughts from your side?
Oh, it was insane. I don't know how many times I've probably said insane on the stream now and how excited I am, because I was just watching battle after battle after battle after battle. And before you know it, the race was over, and I just wanted more. So I'm so happy we have a race 2 coming up right now.
I have to say that first race was full of action, and I think we can expect the same for the second one. Just looking at some liveries while I'm cycling. We're waiting for the start of the race. The guys did an amazing job to get all the cars painted. So hopefully not too much rubbing. So for the repainting and repairs. So great job, guys.
Yes, that would be horrible. We don't want to have everyone going all back to Peter Hrobler and asking him to do some repairs on their cars before the next race. So we don't want too much contact, but a little bit is permitted here and there. But ideally, we want clean passing, clean racing. Oof, I'm just so excited. I'm just going to quickly jump onto the YouTube and see what we have there. And I just want to also remind everyone what I said also in the V8 series that we have that's coming next week is that spam that YouTube feed. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us who you support. Who's the best driver out there right now? We just saw what Clinton Bezuidenhout can do now in the previous race. What will he do in this race?
So who do your money goes on for this race?
My money, woof. As we know, my blood is full of SRAC colors. So yeah, it has to be an SRAC driver. I'm really excited that Craig is back, and I actually think Craig can maybe do something in this race. It all comes down to that turn 1 when everyone is packed up to each other. So I'm hoping for Craig to do something here. But as a commentator, I have no favorites. Just say. But we all know the truth. And yourself, Peter?
No, I will because of that the close racing that we had in the first race. I think my money is safer in my pocket to make a bet this time.
I see what you did. You just threw me under the bus, didn't you?
Anyway, but about 40 seconds for the start of the race. Just a quick recap. Clinton Bezuidenhout, Craig Wesley, Sean Lerero, the top 3. Followed by Wilro Dippenaar, James Crook, Waldo Swiegers, Luke Sylvester, Dylan Versaghi, Basil van Rijn and Brett Kokamp, bringing up the top 10. Then 11th, Michael Rust, Johan Niemand, Tommy Leary Moss, Jason Nell, James Leeds Jr., Jaco Noordman, Dane de Villiers, Blake Kruger, Jean-Ray Dippenaar, Melvin Gous, Herman Nieuwoud, Sean Harts. Yeah, and the lights are on.
Here we go. It's going to be fun.
And we're racing. Seems like Clinton had a good start there. Craig, not a bad start. Yeah, again, there's a problem at the back. He will Dippenaar slotted into that second place with Craig now in third. James Crook in fourth. Will and Clinton next to each other.
Some really tight, so much pressure. Just looking in Clinton's rearview mirror, and all I see are polos, polos, polos.
I don't know where to look to see what action is. There's just action all over the place. Sean Lerero just managed to keep that fifth place with 3 guys, almost 3 wide, coming behind him.
And with the drivers so evenly matched, it's really, really tough to actually have gaps show up on the track because everyone is just on each other's bumper. And as I said that, literally Wilro Dippenaar just touched Clinton Bezuidenhout's bumper. Just gave him a little kiss. And basically it looks like they're going to try and end up maybe bump drafting later on straight. Let's see.
I almost thought the guys were trying to go 3 wide into turn 1.
Wow.
It seems like, yeah, I think Michael Rust ran a little bit wide during that little moment there.
But as we know how the saying goes, no guts, no glory. You have to do something to differentiate yourself from the pack in order to get to that podium.
Yeah, at this stage, Boldero is not letting Clinton get away. We'll see how the race progresses and see how especially if the tire wear goes down, fuel loads go down, track conditions change throughout the race.
I think that's really going to make this race very interesting because, as you said before, it's a longer race. The cars are going to be out there for longer. The tire wear is going to be more evident. So should we actually start fighting for position right now, or should you just sit back, settle into the race, and then try and make your moves later on when the fighters actually have less tire on them?
Melvin Gous is getting up to speed again from his first race technical problem. He's up into 15th already behind Brett Krokamp.
That is really good. I'm just jumping into Jason Nell's car at the moment, and I see that Jandre and Michael Rust are on one another, and Michael's on Sean Hart's bumper down the start-finish straight. Is he going to try and make a move on him? Nope, he backs out just a bit, and I think he's going to fight for another day. Neither fight for another day. Another driver that I was following in the first race 2 weeks ago, Basil van Rijn, and one thing that I'm noticing is, as we know, Basil has the ballast in. He is really pushing his Polo to the limit right now, and he's trying to do something to get around Jason now. But I think that he's fighting that weight. He's struggling with that weight at the moment. So he's not really managing to really catch Jason now. Like, you can see it just out of his grasp at the moment. But who knows, maybe things will change. Ooh, and I see James Leach is making a move on Waldo. Oh, what a pass, but will Waldo do the cut back on him?
Yeah, I was looking for that inside line again.
Yeah. Wow, what a pass by James Leach Jr. He said, no, this is my line, this is my position, I want to climb too. And James Leach Jr. is now trying to do the same thing onto Johan Niemand.
Johan Niemand, James Leach Jr., Waldo Sigurster, Tommy Leary Moss, and also J. de Villiers following that train for 7th behind Johan Niemand.
James Leach is going on the inside again. Will he make it stick? Brakes late, holds the inside, little contact, and the position's his.
Johan Niemand did well there because he was forced onto those curbs, which allowed now Waldo Swiggers to have a run on him.
It's unfortunate, but then again, it's still a lot of time left in this race, so... Ooh, just saw a little contact there between Tommy and Johan.
I think Tommy was looking for that inside line, and Johan just closed the door there.
Yep. He said that this room is my room, I'm not letting you in, shut the door and threw away the keys.
Tommy now has got a train behind him of Herman Nieuwoud and also Melvin Gous there in the mix.
And Melvin is trying to choose a line that he wants to follow. He's trying to take him out on the outside. Will he do the cutback? Nope, he then just yielded.
And also Brett Krokramp is always there hunting for the opportunities.
He's showing that hyena blood, looking to scavenge whatever's left on the table after that battle.
With Clinton now up front about 2 seconds, we've got Wilder Dippenaar, James Crook, Craig Wesley and Sean Dolero and Dylan Basagi fighting for second place.
That's Div 1 for you right there. This is a race that we're watching right now, and the drivers are so evenly matched, so closely placed to one another. How is this? This is amazing. This is just so amazing.
Now we're gonna have soon, like you say, 5 guys hunting for that second place.
I'm going to jump to the mid pack at the moment. I see Tommy just went a little wide on one of these corners, and Melvin's just trying to find a place to pounce on him, because those guys are driving really close to one another.
I just saw
And
Melvin.
Melvin dive bombed in the one corner and took the position. Elbows out. He said, "No, this is mine." This is where we can see where Kian gets that racecraft from. That's in the blood. It's the host blood right there, I say.
Up front we've got Sean Lerero and Craig Wesley now next to each other fighting for 4th place.
Ooh.
Craig just managed to ease out in front of Sean.
Oh, unlucky. He just jumped on the brakes and got rear-ended there. Went a little wide, but luckily he managed to control his Polo.
I have to say that must be the slide of the day so far. Well controlled there, Craig.
That was straight out of Tokyo. I think he was, I'm sure Sean, and I'm not sure Craig was taking part in the Tokyo Drift movies. I'm sure he's one of the stuntmen from there.
Probably
Doing
is.
a little drift here and there.
James Crook still hunting for that second place with Wilro there up. And in the meantime, you know, Clinton Besaidnout opened a gap of 3.8 seconds.
Wow, Clinton just decided to run his own race again. I wonder, does Clinton maybe live on Aldo? Because race 1, he ran away with it. Race 2, he's running away with it again. He's so calm under pressure. It's amazing to see him drive.
I think it might be also that he hasn't got no weight, if I can recall. So his car is weightless, I think.
That is 100% true. Yeah, his car has no ballast in it. Wilro has a ballast, and yeah, he's just riding away. So that must be Wilro then being so frustrated now about this, because he must be saying to himself, if only he didn't have that extra 15 kilos, maybe that would make the difference. Maybe. But that's what makes this interesting.
It does, it really does. I see Melvin is looking for a way past Johan Niemand. Almost now in the last corner.
Trying to redeem himself, it looks, after the last race.
And he managed to get that inside line, yes.
Yeah, that was
Great
a
move.
beautiful pass. He was really trying to show the world right now that yes, when his wheel is working properly, everything's working properly and he can really race. But Johan says, no, I'm going to try to take you on the inside, but no, Melvin closed the door. Johan lost control.
Yeah, Herman Nieuwoud had a little bit of a moment there in turn 1. Also Tommy Leary Moss managed to gain a position or 2 there. Now in 11th place. And James Crook is still behind Wilro in that 3rd place. Not letting him go.
I wonder what Wilro is thinking right now. Is he probably sitting there saying to himself like, why James, leave me alone? I can't do this anymore. The pressure is immense on his shoulders right now.
Jason Nell there with a big Sukamisa sponsorship decal on his car, trying to get closer to John de Dippenaar. Just jumping to Jay de Villiers now, behind Waldo Swiggers.
Ooh, yeah, that's a really tight race right there. Just on his bumper. I just found a mini train at the back. It looks like it is Jean-Dre, Jason Nall, and Michael Rust. Michael Rust is right on Jason Nall's bumper, and Jason Nall's right on Jean-Dre's bumper. Do we see a motorcade? Is this a presidential motorcade at Aldo's that we're watching right now? Maybe.
See Jay de Villiers and Waldo now right next to each other down the main straight with Jay on the inside.
Ooh.
And he's got that move well done. Now we've got a few of those little trains. Either Johan Niemann, Sean Hartz and Basil van Rijn as well. And like I say, just behind them, Sander Dippenaar, Jason Nall and Michael Rust also in a three-way battle.
Ooh, I just saw there was some contact between James Crook and Voro Dippenaar. Oh, and I think James Crook just went off track.
I just clipped that curb and the car bounced through the air there. But that opened the whole train thing again up for the guys. Dylan Versaghi now in third, with Craig in fourth and Sean Loureiro in fifth place.
He must be so furious at what happened there, but that's racing for you. When you make just that little mistake, you can lose dearly, especially in Div 1. Right now I'm on board with Craig, who's just slowly but surely moving onto Dylan Versaghi's bumper. Just trying to find something, squeezing out every last bit of performance out of this polo.
Just jumping on cam with Wildro Dippenaar, looking at the train going backwards. Just crazy how these guys follow so closely.
Trying to decide on what line they actually need to take. Should they defend the person right behind him or defend the person behind that other person?
I think Johan Niemann also had the same problem where James Crook went off, also clipping the curb and allowed Formulieri Moss to gain that position. Now we've got Jason Nall and Jean-Dre Dippenaar and the whole train of guys going down the main straight.
Ooh.
Marco Rust running a little bit wide there.
Just a little bit of contact between Jean-Dre.
I think it was Sean Hartz maybe.
Yep.
Is Sean Hartz now getting very close to Johan Niemann. And up front for 7th place, James Lees Jr., Jay de Villiers and James Crook, very close to each other, going down the main straight. Can't get Craig Wesley also now very close to Jason, to the Versaghi there, and managed to go into third.
This racing is so intense.
Melbourne also now very close to Waldo Swiggers. Melbourne from the back up to 10th.
I must say, for all the viewers at home, they must be just sitting on the edge of their seats, just watching their screens, not touching their keyboards, because this is intense that we're watching right now.
That was a minute to go. It's still Clinton Besaidner up front with about an 8-second lead. Wildro Dippenaar followed by Craig Wesley, Dylan Versaghi and Sean Loureiro very closely battle for that second place.
One thing that I'm actually seeing right now is that I'm on board with Malvin Coase. He's really trying to ascend to P9, trying to find the space between him and Volvo Swiggers. Can he actually do it? He's gonna go for the cutback maybe, but Valdo keeps that door closed. He says, nope, I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I could see early in the main straight down Waldo defending that inside line. Just up front from them, James Cook went past Jay de Villiers.
Wow.
That battle for second place is still very much on, with 4 cars battling: Craig Wesley, Wilder de Penaar, Dylan Versage and Sean Guerrero.
And the funny thing about that battle is in P6 is James Leach Jr. You can just see him. He's just waiting to see if there's some contact that's there for him to get an easy position if they fight too much up there, fighting for second place. Because he's slowly trying to reel them in and trying to take a spot.
Melvin managed to get past Waldo there in turn 1.
Wow. He's really pushing his Polo. He's really trying to climb up, trying to make up for what happened in the first race.
I just saw something happen there between Tomilleri Moss and some other driver, but in the meantime, Clinton Mercedes note got that one in the back with Wilder de Penaar, Craig Wesley very close. Dylan Versage and Sean Guerrero, the top 5. James Leach Jr., James Crook, Jay de Villiers, Melvin Goes. Nice drive from the back. Waldo Swiegers bring up the top 10. Brett Krokkamp in 11th place. Basil van Rijn, Johan Niemand, Andre de Penaar, Tomilleri Moss, and unfortunately a little bit of a moment there. Some contact with another car. Sean Hartz, Luke Sylvester, Jason Nell, Taku Noordman, great first outing, and Michael Rust. Yes, wow, what can we say? What a race.
I still can't believe that this race was actually longer than the first. I didn't feel it. It felt so short. There was so much action. It was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed watching these polos go around this track, watching these drivers show us their skills and their alien credentials. It was amazing to see.
I have to say, car control of some of these guys were immense, and hats off to some great battles, great racing guys, and looking out forward towards the next one. And as we've mentioned, now the next race will be our V8 Master Series, also here at Aldo Scribante. So big V8s on this track is going to be some crazy action as well.
Yes. If we thought we saw drifting today, we're going to see a lot more of that next weekend.
I also are in that race, so I need to get up and get my car sorted and set up, and all the best for the guys for the coming up races, and it's going to be quite interesting. So the next outing we will have at Zwartkops, also tight little track, gonna bring up some great battles and great action.
Zwartkop's going to be a lot of fun with these polos. A lot of fun. I bet many of you who have polos at home are thinking about doing this now. Don't do it on the street. Take it to the track. Just because you have a polo doesn't mean you should be doing this on the street. Those of you who are laughing right now, don't do it. Don't do it.
Great advice there, Cleopas. Great advice. So thank you so much for everyone joining the YouTube stream today, and also to our sponsors, Sukamisa Motorsport, Motor Trimmings and Upholsteries. Thank you for everyone watching, and also Cleopas, thank you for being my co-pilot for the Division 1 race. It was quite fun, and like you say, it went by so quickly.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Peter. It was awesome being here in the booth with you. I look forward to the next set of races as well. And good luck for the V8s. That's going to be a handful.
Great, thank you. Yeah, maybe just to a closing comment. Greg Wesley, massive slide there, good car control. Put you right up there. Yeah, and Sean Loureiro and the guys who had lots of weight, you know, that was also hampering the guys. Clinton Besaidno taking the double, well done. And Melvin, good drive from the back. And yeah, throughout the field, great battles. Nice racing, guys. Now, Cleopas, maybe just some closing comments from your side.
On my side, yes, that was amazing. Just that's why we love sim racing. What we just saw today is evidence that we have skilled drivers all over the continent, actually, not just the country. And yes, it was awesome to see that car control, awesome to see the battling, and awesome to also see how the drivers who were pushing everyone else to the limit, not only themselves. And then the clean passes. Yes, there was some contact here and there, but people were kind and gave back the positions and so forth. It was good racing all around. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Yes, and then thank you for everyone for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side again with next race, and hope everyone stays safe and healthy out there. We've got, still in the challenging times in our country, so please be safe out there. And yeah, hopefully the guys will take all what happened today to a learning experience and come out stronger the next time. So from myself, and yeah, a very good evening to everyone. And yeah, Cleopas Aula on being my co-pilot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers to everyone as well. Enjoy your evening and look forward to seeing you next week.